Good morning. The title of my presentation is not exactly what is in the program. We changed the title to an empirical assessment of export determinants using a gravity model. It's by myself and other colleagues of the University of Trás-os-Montes, Portugal. We impose a research question. What we will analyze here. I don't know if all the thing is okay. There is. Let's start here. The paper that we support is communication. And the topics are described in first. In this presentation, I will summarize on research question, material and maths results, and final remarks. I will try to take only 10 minutes. Research question, in global terms, all of us know that the intense globalization during the last decade, the change of patterns of international trade with the increasing number of players, firms, countries, also the recent global financial crisis in 2008, the falling in output, the severe contraction in international trades, all of these oblige countries and firms to adjust and actively participate in a new market environment. An example of a globalized product is the port wine. It's a fortified wine produced in the north in Portugal, not in Porto. Porto is the local of export. Has a dominant position in the liquor wine market, 77 and 83% by volume and value in 2014. It has been sold in the world market more than 200. 85% of its production is export. However, only 90% of these exports are concentrated in the 20 main countries. We think that is important to know. The first question that we highlight to us is, as the financial crisis of 2008 impacting the export is the first, but we conclude that no. And after we have advanced for this model, to know exactly what are the main determinants of the port wine exports. Like other papers, last two papers, we use the gravity model. It's important for overcome the restriction of the Poisson model. We don't use countries with zero as a dependent variable. And after we have information, we divide the product, the port wine by quality. We aggregate in 4 qualities: standard, high standard, vintage, aged, and total, in value and in volume. After we use a panel model. The dependent variables are the wine export to the top 20 importer countries that represent 95% of the exports of port wine. The source is IVDP, the source of main data of this, the dependent variable. The period, we choose this because is that one that we have data, annual data. Relatively to the dependent variables, we see we have in volume and the quality the different shares of Porto. We see that the standard has a high position. The average price of standard is almost 4 euros. 4 euros. Here I represent the main 20 importing countries, as we see in all the countries, United States, Brazil, Angola, and so on. Here are the explanatory variables that we use, not very different of biology we use in this model. GDP, GDP per country, ad valor equivalent, nominal rate, wine consumption, we introduce wine consumption. If there is or not, is a dummy variable, if there is or not Portuguese immigrant community, distance of the country as a proxy of the cost of transport, dummy of variable of the language, dummy if the country is unlocked or not. We use the Hausmann-Taylor estimator. We use the Hausmann-Taylor because overcome some problems of, I think, that you have in your model. Also, we test difference between qualities, between the results of the different models by quality using the traditional world taste, and these tastes confirm that there is difference in quality. Here in this table we have summarized the results. If we look language and the GDP per capita are the main determinants for all the models. We estimate 10 models, total, standard, extender, vintage, and haste in value. And as final remarks, we can conclude that per capita, the GDP per capita, is one important determinant of the export. Cultural affinity expressed by the language, common language. Distance does not appear significant because the main determinants of the gravity model is the GDP, and the distance are an extensions of this model. Based on this conclusion, we could say that the strategies may be consolidated in these familiar markets. How? Our question how? We think that it's necessary to make a product valorization, making or an association with port wine and the terroir. And now, or after 2001, the place where is produced the port wine is classified as World Heritage, one part. Port wine is an heterogeneous product offered on the market through different categories, and specific determinants by categories are GDP. GDP is the most important for the aged product. Aged is, for instance, 10, 20, 13, 14, or year or harvest. Is the port wine that is included in these categories. Wine consumption per capita is also important for high standard, vintage, and aged port. Based on the results, we can conclude that the industry should search strategy based on export of high-quality port wine to markets that show a tendency towards increased wine consumption per capita to large and fast growing economy. In the paper, I better explain this. We can say that the port wine is also concentrated in terms of production. The four biggest has a market share of 80%. It is a concentrated market. And with this I finish. Thank you for your attention. And if someone, the paper is written, if someone wants to know more, the paper can be required to me, and obvious suggestions are welcome and comments. Okay, thank you.